Welcome back to Ozarks Fox AM. It's time for another Intrigue Journal with our friend Sean Paul.
Whoa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so I came in ready to talk about something else, but then a couple days ago, this story broke on Fox News as well as some other channels saying Ark of the Covenant may be hidden in Africa, biblical scholars believe. So I started doing research, and I found a gentleman who wrote a book on it. They also made a movie on the History Channel of his pursuit of trying to find the Ark. Okay. And I lined up this interview within 3 hours, talked to him the very next day. I've got an hour-long interview I did on my website, intriguejournal.com. But let's just talk about this.
Okay.
I talked to Tudor Parfit about this, and he said, yes, that story has been around for 20 years, and news stories will pick it up when it's a slow news day.
Oh.
Apparently, the Ethiopians, it's a source of national pride that they have the Ark of the Covenant in St. Mary of Zion's Cathedral. All right? And it's kept there, and there's only one gentleman that's allowed to see it. The president of Ethiopia, heads of state, nobody can go near it except the guardian, the keeper of the Ark. And we've got a couple pictures of the church and the keeper here. Just to back up, do we know what the Ark of the Covenant is?
No clue. I just know from Indiana Jones movie.
It was right. It was the way that it was a box that they could carry around the Ten Commandments.
Yes.
It was the way that God, His presence could be felt on God. He would lead the Israelites. They would carry it around, and then it was also used as a weapon in battle. Right?
It's a place too. They put it in a little thing, and they called it the Holy of Holies. I believe that's something
yes,
like
the
that.
tabernacle.
Yes.
Very good,
And
Jeremy.
you weren't supposed to be able to open it.
Yeah, that bad things would happen,
things would
right?
happen
Yes,
when you
and let's go to the next slide where we're showing, yes, that's used in battle, right? So this is why everybody wanted it, and it's a highly coveted item, right?
Okay. Right.
So fast forward, they say it's in Ethiopia, right? In the Church of St. Mary of Zion, and then there's the guardian there, and you cannot pass. Well, there's a man named Edward Ullendorf during the war. He was actually a British historian, very familiar with the story and everything, and he wanted to do, but he was a British soldier at the time. He went to the church, he wanted to see it. They said, no, you can't do it. But he had machine guns and he had troops, and they said, no, we're going to see it. And they gently pushed the guardian aside. They went in, and he saw it.
Why didn't he tell anybody about it?
Well, wait a second. He saw something.
Oh.
But it wasn't the Ark.
What?
It was a facsimile of what they have in churches all over the world. But the Ethiopians want to believe that they have it. It's important to them. It's a big deal. And so to answer your question, the reason he didn't say anything, he didn't want to shatter the country. It was a big deal to them. It would be like telling the Brits that James Bond is a big coward.
Or, or
you
the
know?
world that's, maybe Santa.
Yes.
Well, we don't want to say
Right, there is no Santa Claus.
I didn't say
Perfect. No, and we're not saying that here. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's not our position.
Okay, so anyway, Tudor Parfit, he wrote this book, and he has a theory that there's not one Ark, there's two.
Really?
If you look at Deuteronomy chapter 10, 1 through 3, they will talk about Moses making a wooden crate with his own hands out of acacia wood that the temple, the tablets would go into. This big golden thing would not be easy to carry around during a battle.
Right.
So it was something that was leaner and meaner, and this was called the Ark of War.
Oh.
And he spent years looking in caves and jungles, talking to tribes. I think we have a picture of him coming up here. All right, but he searched the world, and he found it, or he believes he found it. This wooden Ark of War was found in a cave next to a desecrated body that had been there 70 years ago. And they brought it in, and it was sitting in a museum in Zimbabwe. Nobody knew what it was. But he had all these facts. He went in there, he found it. He had it carbon dated. It's the oldest piece of wood found in Africa. And then the DNA samples from that desecrated person next to it matches the DNA of the priests that were responsible for the Ark back in the ancient times.
Oh. Wow, this is mind-blowing.
Okay?
This is mind-blowing.
So he found it. It became a big deal. It was in a museum in Zimbabwe until a very superstitious president of Zimbabwe, Mugabe, had it extracted and brought to his palace because he had failing health and he didn't feel safe personally. And so he had it brought to the palace because he wanted to feel safe.
So he thought it was the Ark, so he thought that would be safe.
If anything, that validated it, right?
Wow.
So that's where the wooden Ark is. That's what became of it. That was the whole story.
Is this the guy here?
Yeah.
That's the guy that actually went in and saw it with his own eyes and said that it wasn't real.
Okay.
Okay. But then what about that real Golden Ark? Because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
What about it?
Like from the movie.
Yeah. Now that was more. The one that looked more like that.
Right.
That would be used for worship. They also called that the Ark of the Testament. All right. That's not something that would be used in the battlefield. And I talked to the author and I said, you know, I've heard that there's tunnels underneath Jerusalem, and there's theories that when King Solomon's temple or the Jerusalem was being attacked, they went in and sealed it away in a chamber in the tunnels. And he said, if it's anywhere, that's exactly right. It's got to be underground. But here's the thing. The main temple in Jerusalem is a mosque. It's Muslim territory. And before that happened, the Israelis, they patched up those entrances that are directly underneath that temple. And so neither side can get at it. It's at one of the most conflicted places on earth.
Well, then why wouldn't it be there then?
Yeah.
And so it could very easily be in one of those underground corridors in Israel.
Now, that's the one you're talking about is the Ark of the
Yes, the
Testament.
golden one.
The golden one.
Right, exactly.
But the wooden one could be with the Zimbabwe guy?
That's correct.
In his house?
Mugabe in his palace. He's been exiled since then.
So where did it go now?
Well, it might be back in the museum. That's what Tudor.
But have they opened the
Parfit
box? You said they carboned it. Have they opened the box to make sure that
said. It was empty. It did not
was
have the
empty,
Ten
yeah.
Commandments. That would have been breaking news.
I'm just going to say, I don't think we're supposed to find it.
Right.
I want to find it.
It's an incredibly
Okay, Indiana
powerful
Jones
thing.
too.
I mean, it's not
That's
just
what I mean.
valuable. I mean, it could be a source of amazing power and the presence of God.
Do you think then that would solidify the existence of God if they found the Ten
You know what?
Commandments?
He said that if it was found underneath Israel, it would be the best chance of getting peace in the Middle
that
East.
is something
It would be
to
a
think
big
about.
deal for both sides,
wow.
and it would be the greatest greatest chance at achieving peace in the Middle East, which is amazing.
Well, I'll take that back then. I hope we find it.
There you go.
Let's
yeah.
have peace.
Yeah.
Yes, and like I said, the whole interview with this amazing man is at IntrigueJournal.com. It will be later today.
Intrigue Journal.
That is so awesome. Sean Paul, thank you.
We
Yes.
love that story.
Okay, now I want to find Noah's Ark and the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail. I want to find it all.
Well, next time I'm going to go back to the aliens, because I came in initially wanting to talk about Roswell, but
We'll
then
get
this
back to
came up.
aliens next
We'll
week.
get back
Yes.
there,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
Sean Paul.
My
We'll be
pleasure.
back to wrap things up right after this. How fun is that?
Yes, I mean, incredible.
That's
Yes,
fun. I mean,
as
that
we
would be
talked about.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
If you